Hi, I'm Toro, and welcome to Toro's History Lullabies. All my life, I've needed a little background noise to fall asleep. For years, it was just the hum of a fan or some soft static. But ever since wireless earbuds came into my life, I've found myself drifting off to podcasts and documentaries, learning and relaxing at the same time. That's why I started making these videos. Calming stories from history, told gently, to help you unwind, learn something new, and hopefully fall asleep a little easier. So get comfortable, close your eyes if you'd like, and let's step quietly into the past. And if you enjoy these stories, I'd love it if you gave the video a like and subscribed for more. Sweet dreams.
The sinking of the Vasa. Hello, sleepy soul. I'm Toro, and this is History Lullabies. Tonight, we set sail not just across the sea, but across time. We'll drift toward the soft shores of Sweden, into a story of silent missteps and royal ambition, of carved angels and creaking timbers, of a ship that never truly sailed. This is the tale of the Vasa, a grand vessel built to dazzle the world, that sank just minutes into her journey. But fear not, this isn't a tale of disaster. It's a gentle echo of human dreaming, and how even in failure, beauty can endure. Welcome, dear traveler of twilight. Let your thoughts settle now. Release the weight of the day. Nestle into your blanket like sails folding into harbor, and let your breathing grow calm and deep. In this lullaby of history, we don't judge. We don't rush. We only listen to the stories left behind by time. Tonight, in our Great Blunders series, we'll wander through cobbled streets and salty docks, past craftsmen and shipwrights, toward the grandest ship Sweden had ever imagined. A ship not felled by storm or enemy, but by the quiet weight of its own ambition. Let's begin. Our story begins in the early 17th century, in the north of Europe, where the skies are vast and pale, and the waters of the Baltic glisten cold and glassy. It is the year 1625. In the kingdom of Sweden, a young king has risen to the throne. Gustavus Adolphus, barely into his 20s, burns with the fierce energy of youth and the steady burden of leadership. Europe, at this moment, is a tangled tapestry of rivalry and unrest. The 30 Years' War has begun to stir, a long and stormy conflict of faith and power, of kings and kingdoms, of borders redrawn like lines in wet sand. Sweden, though distant from the heart of the conflict, is not untouched. The king sees a future where his nation, rich in forests, iron, and ambition, rises among the powers of Europe. But to do so, he needs ships. Not just any ships, but great warships. Floating fortresses that will guard Sweden's waters and send a message far and wide. And so the king decrees, a new navy shall rise. Among the many vessels planned, one will stand above the rest. A ship more powerful than any Sweden has built before. More beautiful, more deadly, more regal. This ship will be Vasa. The Vasa is to be no mere vessel of war. She is a floating temple of monarchy, a statement in oak and iron and gold. The king personally oversees many details, ordering more cannons, requesting more carvings, changing dimensions as inspiration strikes. The shipyards of Stockholm come alive. Sawing, hammering, chiseling. Timber from inland forests arrives on carts. Artisans carve elaborate decorations. Mythical beasts, Roman emperors, cherubs, and lions, all painted in vibrant reds, blues, and golds. More than 700 sculptures adorn her sides, each one crafted with care, each one a story in wood. She grows tall, so very tall, and heavy too, with 2 full gun decks, unusual for a ship of her size. 64 bronze cannons, each one gleaming and fearsome, promise strength unmatched by Sweden's rivals. But beneath her grandeur, a quiet worry begins to form. The ship's lower hull is narrow. Her ballast, the heavy stones meant to keep her steady, may not be enough to balance her towering height. A stability test is run in secret. 30 men run from one side of the deck to the other. The Vasa rocks. Alarmingly, they try again. The ship sways. Too far. The test is stopped, not out of safety, but out of fear. The results are never written down, never sent to the king. You see, when a king has a dream, it is dangerous to question it. And so the builders press on. The ship is painted, rigged, and readied. The port of Stockholm prepares for a celebration. People gather by the thousands. No one knows that the ship is already doomed. August 10th, 1628. A calm Sunday afternoon in Stockholm. The waters of the harbor ripple gently, touched by a lazy summer breeze. Bells ring from the churches. Crowds line the piers. Children sit on Father's shoulders, eyes wide with awe. The Vasa stands at the dock, a towering spectacle. Her sides are a patchwork of color and symbolism. Royal crests gleam in gold leaf. Carved figures peek from behind painted shields. Cannons jut from every level like iron teeth. She is, without question, the most magnificent thing many Swedes have ever seen. Aboard the ship, nearly 150 crew members move with precision. Sailors, soldiers, shipwrights. Some are nervous. Others are proud. The final orders are given. Ropes are cast off. The Vasa begins to move. Cheers erupt from the shore. The ship is pulled by anchors and sails gently out into the harbor. Her sails are not fully raised. Only a few catch the wind. But still she glides. Majestic, unhurried, steady. Then comes a gust of wind. Soft at first, then firmer. The Vasa leans to port, tilts back upright. And then another gust. This time, the ship tips more sharply. Her upper decks sway. Her lower decks groan. Water sprays. The crowd hushes. Through her open gun ports, the sea slips in. Quickly, quietly, fatally. The cannons on the lower deck had been prepared for salute. The gun ports were wide open, and as the Vasa tilted, they dipped below the waterline. Within moments, the cold waters of the Baltic began to pour in, faster than anyone could bail, faster than anyone could react. Panic broke out. Sailors ran for the higher decks. Some jumped overboard. Some clung to rigging and ropes. Cries filled the air. But within just 20 minutes, the pride of Sweden was gone. She settled on her side, barely 1,300 meters from shore, still visible to the stunned crowds. 32 people drowned. Many more swam or clung to wreckage. Some were rescued by rowboats from the harbor. The ship was lost. Not to war, not to sabotage, but to its own design. A ship too top-heavy, too narrow below, too rushed by royal command. The blunder was not just one decision, but 1,000 small silences. Warnings not spoken, tests ignored, truths softened for comfort. In the still waters of Stockholm's harbor, Sweden's greatest ship lay defeated by its own shadow. The following days were gray. Clouds hovered over Stockholm like quiet judges. The king, away on campaign, received the news not with fury, but with cold disappointment. He demanded answers. Who was to blame? Was it the builders? The overseers? The advisors? A formal investigation began, but no one was punished. Not truly, because each man had followed orders. Each one had deferred to someone higher, and no one had stopped the momentum. It was, in the end, a blunder of obedience. The shipbuilders had raised concerns, but they'd been dismissed, or softened, or ignored. The Vasa had become untouchable, a symbol, and symbols, as always, are hard to question. In the years that followed, Sweden's navy continued to grow, but more carefully. New ships were tested more rigorously. Designs grew more practical, but the Vasa remained beneath the sea, buried in mud, slowly forgotten. And then, centuries later, in the quiet of the 1950s, a man named Anders Fransson, a researcher and naval enthusiast, began to search the harbor. He believed the ship could still be there, preserved by the brackish water of the Baltic, low in salt, cold, still. He searched patiently, painstakingly, until in 1956, he found her. And in 1961, the impossible happened. The Vasa rose. After 333 years underwater, she was lifted, intact, to the surface. Crowds once again gathered at the harbor, not to watch her leave, but to welcome her home. Today, she rests in her own cathedral of quiet, the Vasa Museum in Stockholm, a monument not to failure, but to the beauty of what remains. The Vasa is no longer just a ship. She is a memory, a mirror. She reminds us that greatness, when rushed, can collapse, that silence in the face of concern can sink even the grandest plans. And yet, she is also proof that failure is not the end. The Vasa sank, yes, but she did not disappear. She endured, waited, and rose again. There is something profoundly human in that. A soft truth hidden in the timbers of her hull, that even our missteps, our flawed dreams, can become beautiful in time. That a blunder is not the opposite of greatness. It is part of the journey toward it. So let us remember to ask the hard questions, to speak even when it feels uncomfortable, and to leave space in our grandest dreams. For reflection, for humility, and for balance. Thank you, gentle listener, for drifting with me tonight through the quiet harbor of the past. If this tale soothed your thoughts, float us soft, like toward the stars. And subscribe for more midnight journeys through the world's gentlest mistakes. Next time, we'll whisper about another dream gone sideways, another great blunder lost in time. But for now, let your ship find calm waters. Let your sails fall slack. And may the night carry you, ever gently, to dreams. Good night. From me, Toro, and from the ship that sleeps beneath the sea.